Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla officially losing their tax credit, why the Cybertruck is great for other Tesla vehicles, the Cybertruck Foundation series, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, one of the best features of all Teslas, with the exception of the Model 3, is what they call Bioweapon Defense Mode. That's a funny name for a very useful full HEPA filtration system that can be used to keep the air clean in your car. The Cybertruck is now confirmed to be bringing this feature, but Tesla didn't add this to the Model Y until a couple years after it launched. Originally, it shared more standard filters with the Model 3. As always, this leads many to wonder about a retrofit. If the car can have it now, maybe I can pay to get an upgrade. Well, now it is actually happening for the HEPA filter in the Model Y. Tesla has begun offering Bioweapon Defense Mode as a retrofit option for older Model Ys. As you may know, the improved HEPA filter, which includes an additional activated carbon filter, can capture and filter out 99.97% of particles as small as 0.3 micrometers. These are the air filters used on many commercial aircrafts and defend against various air pollutants, including pathogens, allergens, and other harmful particles and contaminants. Then activating Bioweapon Defense Mode creates a positive pressure inside the vehicle to prevent the air from outside flowing in. In this test Tesla conducted last year, they compared their advanced air filtration system to that of the BMW X3, using red smoke to demonstrate air from the outside versus the inside of the vehicle. You can clearly see the smoke getting into the BMW, but not the Model Y. Now they've launched a retrofit service for the 2020 and 2021 Model Y in the US and Canada. This service upgrades the existing filters to HEPA and enables Bioweapon Defense Mode. You can purchase this upgrade and schedule the service appointment through the Tesla mobile app for $330 US. Definitely an exciting retrofit to see Tesla actually offering for older Model Ys. Next up today, Tesla is officially losing half of the tax credit come 2024 for the Model 3. On their website, they specify that customers who take delivery of a qualified new Tesla and meet all federal requirements are eligible for a tax credit up to $7,500. Tax credit will reduce to $3,750 for Model 3 rear-wheel drive and Model 3 long range on January 1st, 2024. Take delivery by December 31st to qualify for full tax credit. Interestingly, it looks like the performance will still fully qualify, and it should have to do with where that battery is sourced. This means that leading into January of 2024, Tesla is not planning to resource their batteries to qualify, but I would expect this to happen over the long term. For the Model Y, they haven't released any specific details about a trim losing the tax credit. They simply mentioned that you can get the full credit by taking delivery before December 31st, and that's guaranteed. For some, this change will mean that if you know you qualify, you'll want to buy a Model 3 now instead of waiting. You'll get the full $7,500, there are inventory discounts available right now, and 6 months of supercharging included with every Model 3 purchase. However, things do change. Tesla could shift to make their vehicles fully eligible again sometime later in 2024, and they're expected to introduce the refreshed Model 3 fairly soon in the US. They could also simply lower their prices by a similar amount come 2024, meaning that this scenario was accurate, but in practice, more of a Tesla sales tactic. As I always like to reiterate though, if you are ready to buy and like the features Tesla delivers today at the price it's at, you can't really go wrong. Just be sure to get the incentives by using someone's referral link. Next up today, the latest info for the Cybertruck and where that will be leading for Tesla. Now that the Cybertruck's launch specs are officially confirmed, there's a lot to get excited about. If you like the Cybertruck, the price and range may disappoint, but overall it seems to include many features that will make this truck a great product. However, if you don't care about the Cybertruck at all, or think it's just an expensive toy for rich people, there are plenty of reasons to still be excited. With this product, Tesla decided to go all in. They basically could have made a very simple truck in the shape of the Cybertruck and sold tons of them, but that's not really what Tesla does. In the Cybertruck, they are introducing a wide range of new technologies that they will be able to apply to other vehicles going forward. The first of these relates to the wiring. The Cybertruck is the first vehicle ever to use a 48-volt low-voltage system. This is an upgrade from 12 volts, which has been standard for decades, and is something the auto industry has been trying to shift to for a while. Tesla finally went ahead and did it here, and this is a game changer for the entire auto industry. Quote, in traditional 12-volt systems, wiring and components must be larger and heavier to handle high electrical loads. However, a 48-volt system can accommodate high loads more efficiently, which reduces the size and weight of wiring, especially for low-draw componentry. This translates to better vehicle efficiency, better handling, and production efficiency. One of the big things holding other automakers back has been reliance on suppliers. Tesla is so vertically integrated that they were able to make this switch in-house. Reduced wiring is something that helps cost and complexity. The lower the current, the less wiring necessary, and Tesla was able to quarter the amount of copper wiring necessary in the Cybertruck. As an owner, you may not even notice this. It could contribute to some accessories that wouldn't have been possible on a 12-volt system, but the advantages here really come on Tesla's side with cost that can be passed on to the customer long term. So inevitably, once Tesla has scaled this up and learned about 48-volt architectures, this could trickle down to a new Model Y, or most likely, their $25,000 vehicle. Production simplicity and cost cutting is the #1 priority when trying to make an affordable EV. It has to be profitable at scale for it to be made at scale, and a 48-volt architecture could be a big piece that helps Tesla get there. In the Cybertruck, one feature enabled by 48 volts is steer-by-wire. This is a dynamic steering system in the Cybertruck that makes it much easier to drive than a traditional truck, at least once you get used to it. There's no physical connection between the steering wheel and the wheels, so it can adapt to different scenarios as needed. In the Cybertruck, this means that full lock is 170 degrees, and less gets you more at slow speeds. Haggerty demonstrates this incredibly well in their video. So what does this mean outside of the Cybertruck? Well, first, Tesla's beach buggy racing game will be able to be played with the steering wheel without moving the wheels at all. That's a fun little bonus there, since the steering wheel is quite literally becoming a video game controller. When playing that game, it's the only thing it's used for. But then this feature could come to other Tesla vehicles. It's entirely adaptable and could enable more parts simplicity for a future $25,000 car and a driving experience unlike anything seen before. We're expecting a small hatchback, and while that may seem like a weird implementation for steer-by-wire, it could make for a great driving experience that Tesla can adapt or improve via software updates. The exact steering system of the Cybertruck with four-wheel steering may not seem necessary on a future car, but the 800-volt architecture may well be. The Cybertruck is not the first EV to use an 800-volt architecture, but it is one of the first to make it easily backwards compatible with 400-volt charging technology. When charging at existing V3 Tesla superchargers, quote, pack splits into two to charge natively on existing 400-volt charging infrastructure, no costly, lossy booster required. That will allow 250 kilowatt charging speeds like Teslas have today. But then when charged at future-proofed V4 Tesla superchargers that Tesla has already begun installing, the Cybertruck will get 350 kilowatts. In the Top Gear video with Tesla executives, Lars Moravi said that means you can get from about 15 to 85% charge in a Cybertruck in as little as 18 to 20 minutes. For the Cybertruck with its huge battery pack relative to something like a Model Y, this is especially important. There's more battery to charge there, but when this trickles down to other Tesla vehicles, it will be huge as well. For the future $25,000 Tesla, or even a future upgraded Model Y, an 800-volt architecture will mean 350 kilowatt charging speeds supported at Tesla V4 superchargers and others that support those speeds. The $25,000 Tesla is expected to be small as mentioned, which will mean a smaller battery required to go the same distance. Then if it supports it, 350 kilowatt charging like the Cybertruck has introduced. Right now, Tesla says you can get up to 200 miles of charge in 15 minutes at superchargers. Imagine if this quickly became 8 to 10 minutes for 200 miles on a small car. That means less charging time, and then less need for a large battery pack if it's very easy to charge it up very quickly. The battery is the most expensive part of an EV, so reducing pack size by way of making charging that much quicker and easier is huge for the future of affordable EVs. While we're talking about the Cybertruck, it's the first vehicle to introduce Tesla's second-generation 4680 cells. These have a 10% higher density than what they shipped on the Model Y for a period in the US. They can store more energy each, cost less to produce, reduce materials necessary, and are produced in-house. They are also much larger than previous cells, meaning the Cybertruck has 1,366 4680 cells, whereas the Rivian R1T has 7,777 2170 cells. This means more metal casings, more points of failure, and likely the big one, more weight for the Rivian. The lighter the battery, the more efficient the car can be, which snowballs to further reduced cost. The last advantage for the Cybertruck is the exoskeleton. Essentially, they've moved the toughness of the truck to the outside, eliminating the need for structure plus body, which should also help with reduced cost long term. In safety tests, it's clear that the Cybertruck is very safe to be inside of, but it does remain to be seen how it treats the things it crashes into. I am curious to see what happens there. If all of this pans out well, though, a future Tesla vehicle could employ the same type of structure. Stainless steel or maybe a different material for the exoskeleton of a $25,000 Tesla could lead to further cost savings. Then it's a question of whether or not customers would want this look. The Cybertruck is the first one to break into the market in a very extreme way, but maybe more of a tame design on a crossover SUV or hatchback could make the exoskeleton concept more palatable for the average consumer, especially once we see crash test safety. All of these things reduce cost over the long term. The Cybertruck may look like a dumb, expensive tank to some people, but what's inside is a big deal for the industry. Any new technology starts out expensive with a vision of the future. Long term, it can come down in cost, but it has to go through that initial period of development and high cost before it can become something that we don't even think twice about. It's simply how it works. The same is happening here. The Cybertruck is polarizing, but what's inside will have a huge impact on the future of EVs from Tesla and the industry as a whole. The official EPA certification has been released for the Cybertruck. At Tesla's Cybertruck delivery event, the approval wasn't actually made public, and Elon made no mention of this truck's range. However, the range released online on Tesla's website shortly after. Still, the ranges say estimated and could refer to Tesla's own estimates separate from the EPA. In any case, the EPA received an application for the Cybertruck's assessment on November 7th, and both received the certificate of conformity as of November 21st, 9 days before the event. This was granted for the all-wheel drive trim with 2 motors and the Cyber Beast with 3 motors. The rear-wheel drive was not submitted, and this doubly confirms Tesla's timelines of this truck not coming for some time. As was expected but not announced, the Cybertruck has a heat pump, and in these documents it says, Tesla Cybertruck's heat pump reduces the energy required by the HVAC system in both heating and cooling scenarios. The energy required to heat the cabin varies by weather and occupant comfort needs, but on average consumes approximately 10% of the total energy available for driving. However, even moderately cold weather consumption can increase to 25% or more. A heat pump consumes a small amount of electrical energy to thermodynamically upgrade low temperature, less useful, thermal energy to higher temperature, more useful thermal energy, making it suitable for occupant comfort. That is, for a given electrical power input, a heat pump will return 1 to 5x in useful heating power. An electrical cabin heater provides 1 to 1 in heating power and therefore is far less efficient. The Cybertruck's gross vehicle weight puts it in the Class 2B division, along with others like the Silverado 2500, Ford F-250, and Ram 2500. Jason Camisa from Haggerty, who put up an incredible video with the Cybertruck, got to spend 3 days with the truck. In addition to their video, he talks for over an hour about the Cybertruck in a podcast. There's plenty to learn about in this interview regarding the Cybertruck's engineering, safety, and more, but one particularly interesting thing relates to the giant wiper. Of course, it's huge, in part because it has to wipe over the autopilot camera at the top of that giant windshield. But he details that further, it moves while you're driving. Even when you aren't using it, it automatically moves for best aerodynamics. He says that, quote, having a slight angle inboard actually creates some aero advantage on that side of the truck. So it rests there when on the freeway, but in other modes, it will rest at the bottom of the windshield. That's a pretty interesting insight, along with the fact that the windshield wiper fluid gets pumped up through the wiper and sprays out evenly along the windshield. MKB detailed that on his own podcast. Regarding PowerShare, it's known that in order to enable this in a home, you'll need to install a Tesla Universal Wall Connector and a Tesla Gateway, but Drew Baglino detailed that for existing Powerwall owners, there is nothing extra to install. Quote, if you have a Powerwall, nothing needs to change about your home wiring. Similar to how existing Powerwall customers charge their cars during a power outage, PowerShare-capable vehicles support bidirectional power flow, charging and discharging in this situation. Essentially, it seems that for those with a Tesla Powerwall setup, the Cybertruck will be adding 123 kilowatt hours to your home backup in an emergency situation with no additional setup required. That's pretty amazing integration right there. Then, a Foundation Series Cybertruck was spotted in source code. I actually saw this badge at the factory and was curious what it was. It looks like it may be a more expensive, special launch version that they say is limited edition, fully optioned, has exclusive badges and premium accessories. Initial deliveries are these as far as we know. It includes PowerShare Home Backup, PowerShare Mobile Connector, Universal Wall Connector, and Lifetime Premium Connectivity. This does raise the question of whether or not bidirectional charging will be standard on the Cybertruck or not, and if the Foundation Edition is more expensive up front. Now let's talk about the range extender for the Cybertruck. In a sense, this is Tesla's way of delivering a near 500-mile Cybertruck. But the thing is, the range extender is simply a photo for right now. We don't know how true it is that this will actually be coming by the end of 2024 to extend the range for those who need it. Elon detailed it in a tweet saying, optional pack that fits in about 1/3 of the truck bed. Still room for plenty of cargo. It's meant for very long trips or towing heavy things up mountains. Usually, if only Elon tweets about it, we wouldn't put too much weight on it. He confirmed a quad-motor launch Cybertruck, the Cybertruck being able to float and more, so the worry is that this range extender falls into that same category. However, other executives have posted about it as well. Drew Baglino said it's, quote, a toolbox-sized battery against the back of the cab in the bed, for those who need the extra range. It seems that this very well could be the plan for Tesla, but I do worry that it may simply be a way for them to ship this truck and demonstrate that their top range is actually already good enough. Maybe this range extender will never actually arrive. If it does though, it's kind of a perfect solution. True to what Tesla always says, many customers don't actually need to carry that much range around all the time. It mainly comes into play for towing and other intense use cases, as Elon detailed, but it will be very important for those use cases. On the federal tax credit side of things, the Cybertruck all-wheel drive should fully qualify for $7,500 off. It uses Tesla's own US-made batteries and is made in Texas, but taking that $79,990 vehicle and adding more range to it would put it over the $80,000 cap immediately. In a way, this extender, bought after the fact, allows the Cybertruck to still qualify. Then you add to your vehicle after getting $7,500 off of it. It is estimated to cost about $16,000 and weigh at least 660 pounds, so it definitely won't be something you can easily load in and out for that long trip. It will be something that you get installed at Tesla service and keep in your bed pretty much permanently. That extra weight will affect things like safety, truck bed capacity, efficiency, and performance. The hope, though, is that for those who need it, those trade-offs will be worth it. Tesla didn't want those trade-offs to be a standard part of the vehicle, though. The range extender also opens up the idea of rentals or battery swaps. In the future, Tesla could offer rentals of this extender for specific journeys. You stop by a Tesla service center on the way to your road trip where you'll be towing, and they drop this pack in that adds about 130 miles of range. Then you bring it back after your trip is complete. Alternatively, there could be a swapping service. I personally don't see Tesla doing this, but maybe a third party could be certified to do so. You own the pack, but then you pay a swap fee for the privilege to swap it at strategically placed stations for a quick 130-mile range boost. There are many routes this could go, but first we need to see the Cybertruck scale up. Then we need to see them actually release the range extender. I think it's a great idea, but I do worry it may never actually come. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the other Cybertruck features you may have missed, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.